right. Well, left foot, right foot is here at Southern California Tango Championship 2024. Rob, how do you think day one went?
Day one was amazing. Actually, the thing I love about the SoCal Tango Championships is the classes. The classes were great. I had a great class with Facundo Vanessa. The musicality class was downright the best class I've taken so far.
There's a lot of criticism when it comes to classes and festivals, right? It's always whether or not there's enough attention given to the instructors. I think we talked about it a little bit on the last time, where it's just like what's the balance between the right amount of people in class and the amount of like attention you can get from instructors.
Yeah.
So, do you think there was a fair balance?
There's definitely a fair balance this time around, but I mean, it's hard to say because it's the first day. It's a Thursday, so the bulk of everyone hasn't showed up yet. You know,
That's a good
but
point.
I always love taking classes on the first day, especially if it's a Thursday, because that quality of instructions and the attention that you really need, because it's not stacked with 100 people in one class. The other thing is that just like the Gavito Festival, this festival they limit the amount of people who can sign up for the classes. So I think it's limited to somewhere around maybe 40 people or so, and that makes a big difference in my learning experience.
It's interesting because I think there seems to be like a lot more people given this. It is a Thursday, but I feel like just the energy. I feel like there's more people on a Thursday than I would normally assume.
Yeah, you know what? That is quite surprising, and I think a lot of it was also because a lot of the competitors were competing on Thursday, so you have a lot of the amateur and pro am categories that are competing today. So a lot of people came out in full force, and their supporters. So also like you have the senior categories, which I think the finals for the senior category will be finished somewhere around Friday and Saturday, so it won't take all the way to Sunday. So this is the time for a lot of the smaller categories to really come and shine. And I think the smaller categories have a lot of community support. They have their families coming out, so that I think that's where a lot of the energy comes in from.
You know what's interesting because this festival, I think it's so unique because on the West Coast we rarely get to see like a lot of East Coast people, and I feel like this kind of festival, even and it has the competition element, and so it does pull a lot of different people from different parts of the country, and there's even some people from outside the country that are here at the event.
Really, like I know they've had a lot of people from Colombia last year,
Yeah.
but how many international people are there this year?
My friends from Korea are here. I've seen obviously people from Mexico that are here. I think there's
I met a couple from Canada.
Canada. Yeah. I'm not sure how far. Like maybe there's probably some people from Europe here that I just don't know yet. It's
Okay.
hard to tell. I think from on day one, I think my big takeaway is that the hotel has brought a very different dynamic to SoCal than in years past. I mean, we've gone to every single SoCal
Yep.
since 2015, and I know there was a pandemic, so we skipped a couple. But yeah, how do you think it's different? Why does it feel definitely feels different with the hotel?
It definitely feels different. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with hotels, and because I feel like hotels it doesn't have it lacks that personality you get from a boutique area like the Women's Club in Santa Monica or Candela in La Brea. A lot of these venues that are more boutique have a certain feel to it. And even when we talk about, let's say, the San Diego Tango Festival, when they went from the Kona Kai to did they go to the Hyatt, or where they go?
Yeah, I think they went to it was something like that. I think it was Hyatt.
But when you get to when you get to these larger chains like the Hilton, the Hyatt, it kind of
Wyndham,
loses.
Grand Wyndham or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it loses that boutique feel, and I really like that boutique feel.
Mm. Boutique
But
feeling meaning like it's like feels like your local Malanga.
no, boutique it's very unique. Like
Ah,
it's very catered, has a very unique feel. Like you're not gonna see anywhere else because when you take like some place like the Hilton, how is it different from like the Hilton in LA versus the Hilton in San Francisco versus the Hilton in
right.
Chicago?
Pretty
It's
similar. Yeah.
it's a commercial chain, just like you go to a McDonald's here, you go to McDonald's there, it's the same McDonald's.
Mm.
Where like you go to a mom and pop shop, it's like even In and Out, like In and even though it's a California chain, I have friends from Chicago who come out here like I'm gonna have In and Out because I don't get In and Out in Chicago.
Fair.
So you get that it's a very unique feel, and that's why that's one of the things I do miss. But on the high on the flip side, I think they did a great job decorating this year compared to previous years. The decorations feel a bit more together.
Right.
I'm really big on decorations. I know that sometimes people just go,
I'm definitely not.
I know people are like, oh, decorations.
Yeah,
like,
who cares?
Who
Put
cares?
me in a box as long as there's good dancers, good music.
But sometimes for me, it's like I like being part of the theme. Like I really like thematic things. Like when back in the day when Kirita had like those theme events, like when they had the Bollywood night and when we had other nights. I definitely love Halloween Malongas. So the themes, like I love playing into the theme. It makes me feel more part of the festival. It has a different energy to it.
Right.
So I think thematically, this year's Diamonds and Pearls, again, very simple. I like that they stepped away from everyone doing, the whole Great Gatsby, Roaring Twenties thing.
Yeah,
it really got overplayed. I like this one. It's very classic. It's very cheap.
The funny thing is those themes are just the guy you just wear a suit, right? That's like the only thing guys can do, right? I mean, those things. That's it.
That's true.
All we got.
That's true.
Tuxedo or a suit.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, I like looking at the ladies. Right.
Fair.
And it's a different feel when you get a lady in a flapper outfit versus like something in a nice elegant dress, something that I mean, not saying that what they wear isn't elegant,
right?
Like but it's a different feel, different style, and it's like I love seeing that variety.
I like it as long as it doesn't impede my dancing.
That's
right.
True.
If there's some ladies out there that have like the rhinestones on the back, and I'm just like, I put my hand there,
Oh, like a sequin.
Yeah. It's like it's so rough. I'm like, it's like I think I got a splinter or something. Like my hand's bleeding after dancing tango.
Yeah, I hear you. But again, going back to that, I love themes because I think everyone gets to participate, even if you're not that great of a dancer, even if you're not getting all your tanas out there, especially I think being part of the theme makes people mingle a little easier. So if you're not part of the upper echelons of dancers who are sought out, like if you're not part of the marathon circuit, you're not part of like a certain festival circuit, themes are an easy way to connect with other people. So that's one of the reasons why I love themes.
And we're filming this live right now, so actually the Malanga is happening right now. We actually haven't really seen the social dancing yet. We've only pretty much seen the classes up to this point, which have been stellar and superb. And we've seen the competition. What is your initial thoughts on day one of the competition this year?
So far, I haven't seen too much of the competition, mainly because I saw like the amateur tracks, I saw the pro-am track. The pro-am track was really stacked this year.
The pro-am super stacked.
It was. It was fun to watch. It was great to watch. But then, again, I haven't seen this. They haven't done stage yet. They haven't done a lot of the other tracks.
Well, the thing is, like pro-am, it's an interesting concept because what constitutes professional, right? To me, there's professional. There are teachers that get paid for. Obviously teaching others to dance, right? So they make money somehow from the dance, right? But then there are seriously like professionals where this is their job, like this is what they do.
This is their
livelihood, right? Yeah. And I feel like we have more of those in the pro-am.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do. Sometimes like we got some major juggernauts, like two like
U.S. champions, former, SoCal champions.
Yeah, you've got Mundial finalists in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a stacked card, but in terms of the open division, I didn't see like that one year we had tons of Colombians come in and just totally wiped everything.
Just swept everything. Swept everything.
And that comes to a certain point because there was a person who reacted to a call out for Jack and Jill, and he said, "Oh, why do I want to sign up? Because all the pros are entering."
That's valid. I mean, why? Why enter something when you have a snowball's chance in hell in their mind?
Yeah, and you know what? Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I also think that this is how competition gets better when you open it up to a pro division. And maybe we should have an amateur division. We do have an amateur division here, but
Yeah, this
maybe
is the first time that they have the amateur division.
yeah. So but maybe we should have, like, if that's something that's of interest, maybe competitions will then have an amateur track, like not just where you have this everything under one umbrella. We have amateur tracks and professional tracks and open tracks, but where you have the championships of just amateurs only. Like you have no professionals at all. That, I mean, this might open itself, if it becomes popular enough, it might open itself to having like separate events, one for amateurs and one for professionals.
That's an interesting concept, right? Because we're just so used to jumbling them all together.
Yeah.
I mean, if I think about my like ATUSA journey, like for both of us, we both competed, we both performed, participated. If you just look at the track that we've started, I think my first year was 2014. I think from 2014 to 2016, you saw a lot of like American professional dancers, teachers compete. And then from like 2016 to 2018, you see more, I would see more professional, like their blood, sweat, and tears is Tango.
Yep.
Right? And then I think from like 19 and like 23, you then see like the outside of the country professional, like Colombian, Argentina pros.
But that's also the case because the restrictions were more relaxed.
Right.
You know, like ATUSA I think the whole thing was like you'd have to at least before you had to be a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Now I believe
it's like 1 year, I think.
Yeah, I think residency. Well, I think now it's like 1 year residency.
It's like anyone can come over as long as they've been here for a year.
But also that you remember like SoCal didn't have those restrictions. So back in the day, it was SoCal was the open season. Everyone can come.
Right. I mean, the first champions were Mexican. They were from Mexico.
Yeah, and then ATUSA was like you have to be a U.S. citizen.
Right.
So there was that big separation there. But if you actually look at, if you look at the popularity of the events, I think people were drawn into the higher caliber of international dancers, and it really pushed this event forward.
Do you think it's because, I don't know, do you think people want to see, I mean, because what's the difference? People are still competing. Like when you watch a tango competition, it's not the most exciting thing, to be honest with you, unless you have a personal investment. Like unless you like know some people in it or you've done it yourself so you can empathize. Yeah. But I mean, from my perspective, like watching a tango competition isn't like watching the Super Bowl or something.
No, it's definitely not watching the Super Bowl. But what I will say is, in any art, in any aspect, any sport, the cream's gonna rise to the top. So people are generally want to see the best of the best. Even if they don't know what good is, it's really obvious, like that's good versus that's amateurish. I mean,
so you think any layman can just say that is good and they can point out what's good?
Well,
or you think that's great? Like they can point out greatness?
I think they could point. I think they could recognize greatness when you put greatness in front of them, and it becomes more obvious when you have that comparison of someone who's amazing to someone who's average.
I see.
You know.
So because you see the contrast, you see them right next to each other.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then the other thing is, let's just take sports for example. You know, there are people who love watching, like, say, college ball, right? And college ball is great, but how many people love seeing high school ball?
Yeah.
You know,
it's true. Unless you're in high school and you have friends that are on the team. Again, it goes back to that thing, right?
But when you have those professionals in there, everyone will see the NBA. So, you know, again, the cream rises to the top. People are going to gravitate towards that. And I think that's one of the charms of this championship is that it is open for anybody and everybody, and they have enough categories to satisfy people who are amateurs and people who are professionals. And they also have an open bracket where anybody and everybody could compete in the same lane.
Yeah. How do you think the I don't know, do you have any hopes for how the competition is going to unfold? Like, do you have any
like favorites or something?
Favorites, yeah. Are there any?
Well, of course, my favorites are my friends. You know, I'm biased towards my friends.
I mean, we haven't seen. To be fair, we haven't seen the open category, which is the non-amateur category.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting starting tomorrow.
It'll definitely be interesting. But I'm also really interested to see how stage is going to be this year because
I mean, you're in the stage category.
Well, I'm in. Well, technically no. I'm in the team stage, but since there's only one team competing, it's more of a showcase.
Yeah. Are
So
you excited for that?
I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for it
And
because
what's that? Is that in 2 days?
that's on Sunday.
Sunday or the last day?
Yeah, it's the last day.
Okay.
But I'm excited for it because the whole team has been working for more about 6 months. You know, again, it's one of those. Could we be better? Maybe another month or two we can be better. But you know what? It's as good as it is, and we just put our hearts into it. You know,
Right.
and we have a deadline. We met that deadline, and sink or swim, we're gonna do it. So that's kind of how it is in competition. You set that date and cross your fingers and just hope for the best.
I mean, what do you say to people that kind of don't meet their own expectations at something like this?
It hurts. I'll be honest with you. It hurts. Like, you might have an idea of how you're going to do in your head, but you never know until you actually do it. And
Right.
where, like me, I've had many expectations because I've been dancing for a bit, and many times I've been eliminated in qualifiers. I'm not, it does hurt. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I think it's one of those things where you reach an event happens in your life where you decide, is this going to break you, or is this going to make you come out, try harder, and be a better person? And for me, for a while, I went out and tried harder and kept at it. And then there's also a time when I said, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to take a break. And I did take a break. But now I'm back into it. I really love stage. I like the way stage is going. And I'm going to try my hand at it. So
Rejuvenated.
Definitely. But, I always love competition. And I think one of the great things I love about Tango competitions is that no matter how poorly you do, people here respect it. Even the competitors, even the champions here respect it.
Oh, of course, it's tough.
They'll even if like you just totally blew it, they'll still pat you on the back. Hey, good job, because you know what, it takes guts to come out here.
It does.
And allow yourself to be judged.
I used to think why do competitors just go sleep and why don't they just dance after the Molangas? Like when the competition's over, how come they don't stay, socialize, and dance, right? And I realized it takes a lot of energy getting out there. Even if you're only out there for like 10 minutes, that 10 minutes feels like a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the lights or the adrenaline or your body is just tired.
The worst to me is the anxiety of waiting.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one of the first times competing at ATUSA, I was hungry. We couldn't leave the competitors room, and we were stuck back there for about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Everyone was hungry, and by the time we got out, it was like 10:30. Everything was closed.
That's the thing that nobody tells you, is that there is a lot of waiting. And I know just don't you just wait till when your group goes up? Yes, but then you also have to wait for all the other groups to finish before your group goes up.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're lucky enough to go quite early.
Yeah.
And then you can just be done with it.
Yeah, but even if you're done with it, you still have to wait back there.
Right, because they have to make the announcements of who makes it, and you still have to wear your uniform and the number and all that stuff.
Yeah, but so all that anxiety, it's like you just sit back there, you're just nervous, and your body tenses up, and I'll get it for me. I was hungry, it's tough on the body, and it's tough on the body. It's tough on the spirit. Yeah. So I give kudos to anyone who goes out there and tries it, and puts their name in the hat and gives it their all. And I think everyone, especially competitors, realize that. So that's why they're always encouraging other people. I know that there's a lot of talk about how competition has ruined Tango, but I think that when you actually look at people who actually really do compete,
right,
they're very supportive of all the other competitors.
That's true.
I don't really see too much trash talking between competitors. Maybe on the very last day of the finals when people are neck and neck, maybe that might be the case. But in general, I've never seen anyone just say, "Hey man, yeah, why are you even here? Like you should, like you don't even belong in the qualifiers. I've never heard that before.
Well, because you're not directly competing per se against somebody else, right? Like my dance doesn't impact your dance out there, right? It's
Yeah.
not like basketball where I play defense against you, you know.
Yeah, but in a sense, we're all being judged on the same track.
It
so.
is true, but
And-
my actions don't dictate yours.
Well, unless you're like screwing with navigation.
Yeah, we won't go there. That's another day. The navigation on the floor, competing. No
Yeah.
one ever talks about. I don't even feel like judges really discount people that break navigation, right? I just
Yeah.
But when you're out there, it definitely impacts you. If the person is just like move, like you're just there. I can't move because you're just taking all the time there.
Yeah.
You know.
Because that's the thing. It's like how much how much face time they have in front of the judges. So sometimes that's that goes into the whole psychological warfare of competition.
Right, the angle, like, oh, we're going down the judges' row. This is where they look at this corner. They look over here, and I don't know though. I talked to judges before, and they always tell me that they look all around, and actually they don't look right in front of them. They're always surveying.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing because one of my teachers, they actually told me that for stage. This is not judging, but he talks about stage and for shows like Forever Tango and things like that. They look at the center. They don't really look at who's dancing in the center, but it's like they catch everything through the peripherals. So it's more like a bird's eye view from the center. It's interesting how he explains it.
So they can see it like a holistic view.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not like there's a focus, but like so they could focus on what's good and what's bad, and some things will come out from the peripherals, like, oh, that's interesting, or oh no, let's mark that person down.
Right.
So, but no, but I think it's really common to think that they can only see what's in front of them, and maybe that might be the case for amateur judges.
Right.
But when you reach a level, especially like national competition, I think they have the skills to go beyond that.
I never really liked the elevated position that the judges are in. I know that you want to showcase your judges and they're like in this like a higher superior position,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like when we observe dancing, we're always on the ground level. Like to truly appreciate the dancing in front of you, you have to be, there, like up above. Like I don't know. Do you really?
Well, to go back to the peripherals, if you're on the ground level, how do you see the person on the back?
This is true.
Because they're blocked by the people in the front.
Well, that's why, like at Mundial, they had like the judges at each corner and stuff like that, and each corner, like so they get different angles.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that in the future we might see more of that, either that or the judges are just there, but they're watching like 4 different video feeds. I don't know.
Video feeds? You're there live and you watch a video?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to see all the corners,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Because that's the thing in tango competition, and especially in the salon, right? Because there's like so many other couples out there on the floor with you.
Yes.
Like you could do something amazing, and like none of the judges saw it, right? Or you can do something horrible, and hopefully none of the judges saw it, which is also a benefit.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's like I think that's also something like a misconception, because when people say amazing, right, they might think of a figure or whatever. Like
Right.
I did like a triple staccato backflip, whatever, whatever you say,
Yeah.
But one of the big things that I think that people don't talk about that's huge in judging is the amount of energy you put into it. Because because sometimes people will say, oh, I did a complicated figure, right? And yeah, you did a complicated figure, but if it's not done with a certain amount of energy,
Right.
if it's not done with an interesting aspect of musicality
And togetherness,
Yeah.
right? Like,
so that was one of those things that really bothered me, because for a long time, because I was always going, oh, why am I getting marked so low? Like, what does this mean? What are they looking for? What do they mean? Like, just the embraces or the walk? It's like it's like sometimes the judging criteria seems so arbitrary,
right.
but the more you learn about it, it's like it's a really big thing. It's almost like how refined are your basics?
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls of American competitors, because they think that you have to do this like back staccato to something else,
Right.
something else. Where like, maybe you can do that, and you did that once. But if your basics can't hold water, then what are you doing? And
Right.
I think that's one of the downfalls of both competitors and social dancers, that they focus so much on this one giant move, thinking that it's going to save their dance.
But if someone said, Rob, all right, can you look at my dance and tell me what I need to do better in the competition? What would you say?
And this is a hard one, because you know I used to receive feedback from great maestros and everything, and they'll say things like, "Oh, you can work on your embrace." I'm like,
Yeah, like what does that mean?
you know,
Right?
like, or I remember one time a maestro said, "Oh, you could benefit more from following, and then understand how to work with the connection."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's so vague.
I get what they're saying.
Well, I do now, but I'm saying back, 7 years ago,
Yeah.
it was just like, did you just pull this from a cookie? Like, did you pull this from
Fortune
like, yeah,
cookie.
like it's a Tango fortune cookie. You need to work in your embrace. Like Fu Manchu says, like,
Some Yoda saying,
you know,
embrace you must.
but yeah, like, to me, I was just like, how many times did you repeat this to the next person? And the sad part is, they probably did, and that next person probably had the same mistakes. That's the truth of it,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a lot, and I think it's like I've been around enough to know that I don't know a lot, and it's kind of funny but back then it was almost like, just give it to me straight, and then it always sounded like some vague blanket statement that everyone gets, and it drove me insane, because, like, what do you want me to work on? Well, the embrace, like, I'm hugging, what do you want me to do? So it is very frustrating, and I think that's part of the journey of competition too, is that not only do you get feedback, but to actually digest and understand that feedback, and figure out what is your dance, because yes, we're all dancing Archie and Tango, but I think what makes a true champion in Tango is to embrace your own dance, because like it's like we're not just dancing Tango, we're dancing our own dance, our own style, our own thing.
Sure.
We're not trying to copy somebody. Our own interpretation.
But some people would argue that there is a standard that people, in general aesthetic, that people are trying to strive for in these competitions.
Yeah, but the standard is elegance, right?
Sure.
So what does elegance mean? It can mean many different things, and sometimes being different is good, because if everyone does the same thing, they don't stand out. So everything, I guess you could say it's a calculated risk. How much do you want to stand out? Because sometimes if you stand out, you look bad, because like you don't follow the traditional norms or whatnot.
Well, I think you were talking about different, but they still have the general fundamentals down.
I
mean, once you learn the fundamentals, then you can break the mold and structure. But you have to master the fundamentals first.
Definitely.
You can't just be out there flopping around and be like, I'm different.
Yeah, you definitely can't.
Right.
So I think there's definitely a focus on fundamentals and basics, and I don't think people understand that there's a huge emphasis on fundamentals and basics, because they're like, oh, we're competing at a national level, where are your high kicks? And I'm like, no, man. Even at the Mundial level, it's like, if you can't do a fundamental movement, it's like, you're not even getting past the next day.
And it's so funny, because I always used to think, like, I got to go out there and do the show-stopping moves.
Yeah.
But like, these judges, they're all capable. They all can do the moves. They're not looking at that, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for the nuance. They're looking for that subtlety. They're looking for the things that we take for granted, that are the simple things, but people just don't do them, don't execute them.
No, they don't. And I mean, giving an example is Mundial winners. Was it what's his name? Melissa Sachi and
yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
Christian Palermo.
Yeah, Christian. Yeah.
Yeah, like they came out there. They didn't do any show-stopping move, and they won Mundial.
I mean, they did have dynamicness, they had great
Yeah,
musicality.
but
They showcased all three layers, right? Which is like, show me how to dance to D'Arienzo, show me how to dance to Desiree,
yeah,
show me how to dance to Pugliese.
yeah.
You know?
But did they have? But but going to my point is, did they go out there and had like some Chicho level, like
No.
yeah,
They didn't do some
no.
groundbreaking, crazy, flashy
It
moves.
was it was good fundamental combinations.
Right. Show
That
us your variety. Show
yeah,
us that you have, an array of
yeah.
skills.
So even at the world level, like the world class level of Mundial, there's still an emphasis on fundamentals. So so it's not even to say like, oh, fundamentals are only in America because we're like 20 years behind
Yeah,
Europe.
gotta catch up.
It's not even about that because even in Europe, even on the world stage in Argentina, there's still an emphasis on the fundamentals, and I think that's something that we could all take to the bank.
All right, we'll see how the rest of this action. I know I want to hit the jacuzzi. That's the thing
Oh,
I'm looking
geez.
for this weekend. The pool and jacuzzi. But yeah, it's been a great festival so far.
Yeah.
We're gonna see the social dancing tonight, and we'll keep you guys updated as things progress.
Yep. Have a good night, everyone.